welcome everyone once again to and I'm sure it's been interesting so far. So today we'll be looking at some other aspect of Microsoft Excel, looking at some key areas that will be useful in our analysis journey. Right. I'll say if in case you've not subscribed to my channel, please do. My handle is at Master Data with Dave on YouTube and other social media platforms. And then today's objectives are looking at, data cleaning techniques, text functions, left, right, trim, removing duplicates, handling blanks. We'll be looking at VLOOKUP, XLOOKUP. Right, this is the first data we're working with today. And as we can see, the date column is not visible. What I'll just do is to come here, look at this triangle, click on it, and then double click in between. Then that is fine. Right, we're not doing formatting. We're not doing so much formatting. What we want to just do is to look at the left function. That's when we're trying to extract, some text or part of a text from a particular cell. For example, if I have, in the UK, there's what is called a postcode. So if I have a colon for the postcode and I want to extract just the first, let's say the first two letters or the last two letters, I can extract it using formulas in Excel. And that is why we have the left and the right, function in Excel. For example, if I come here and I, type equals to left, once I start typing left, and you can see it says it returns a specified number of characters from the start of a text string. So that means if I double click on the left, it is asking me what is the text that you want to work on. If I click on my cell A2 and then I press comma on my keyboard, then it's asking me for number of characters. So how many characters do I want? If I look at my colon A, let's say I want the first three characters from that cell. So if I press 3 and I close the bracket and I press enter, if you look at it closely, you can see that the YGP is the first 3 characters from that cell. And of course, if I click on it and I double click on the corner, the lower part corner, looking at the right, once it changes to the dark colored, that's the black colored arrow, you can double click and then it fills it up for that column. So that means if you look at row 55, ERS is the first 3 characters from the cell A55 in the column A. So if I do that again, if I Control Z, it remains in column G. But remember that if I delete that, if I convert my data to a table, Control A, Control T, and then yes, my table has headers. If I click OK, and then I write and I say, let's say extract, I press enter, you can see that is equals to left, and I double click, I click on the text, comma, and I press, let's say 4, and I close the bracket and I press enter. Automatically it fills it up for the entire column. So that's one advantage of converting your data to a table. You don't have to double click to fill it up again. Once you just wait for the first part of that column, it fills it up for the entire column. So let's say this is the left extract. If I add here and I say right extract, okay, you'll be able to see my entire screen. Right, so I have the right extract here, and also still reduce the width of the column so that we can all see everything together. So I want to extract the text from the right of the cell. Just the same thing as the left side number of characters from the end of a text string, from the end. That's from the right side of it. So if I double click on it, what is the text? The same full name. Then I put comma and then number of characters. Let's say I want, so it fills it all for the entire colon. So that's my left and my right, function covered. Okay. So I want to look at the mid extract. That means we've done for the left, we've done for the right. Let's talk about the mid now, like the middle. So let's say I want to extract some text from colon B. So I'll type is equals to mid, returns the characters from the middle of a text string, given a starting position and the length. Put comma, and then it's asking me what's the starting number. So let's say my starting number is let's say 6, close the brackets. That is it. So if we look at it, look at the formula. The formula is the mid at email, that's the colon email, and then I want it from the 6. And if you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the 6 is starting at the at. And then how many characters do you want? You want 5. So from the at, it's going to count 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is the middle. That's, that's from just exactly what you want. You are starting from the 6th character, and then you want 5 characters from that point. For example, what if I want from let's say I don't want the at to be there. I just want from the 7th, and then I want it to be 2, 4, 6, 7 characters. And then I press enter. So it gives me just the example all through. So the first thing we want to do here is to remove duplicates. For example, you've got your data and you are sure some people recorded their timesheets more than once, or some people submitted their report more than once, or maybe you are trying to register for a conference and somebody told you, oh, I'm sure Mr. Hey registered more than once, and you want to just filter out and just remove every duplicate, and you want to just have just original, rows that are not duplicated, and you want to have unique values only in those particular rows. You don't want duplicate value. How will you remove duplicate value? So we've opened our worksheets, which is this one. Let me name it as just possible duplicates. So I want just unique values in this colon D. I don't want duplicates. I want just, values that are unique. So what will I do? I come to my data, and then you can see remove duplicates. So if I click on remove duplicates, this dialog box comes up. Now, it has selected every column that I have in my sheet. So that's select all. I can unselect all. So it's saying to delete duplicate values, select one or more columns that contain duplicates. So I am sure it is the possible duplicate that has duplicate values. And then I can select just that. Then I can click OK. See what just happened. So it's telling me that 47 duplicate values found and removed. 3 unique values remain. And that is it. Of course, it may include empty cells, spaces, and the likes. Is this what I want? No, all my data, I've lost all my data. So I can Control Z. And then I'm back to where I was. I do that again. Let's assume, let's say the email contains duplicate and you want to remove the duplicates. So what will I do? I select the email colon, then I click OK. So 6 duplicates found and removed. 44 unique values remain. And that is good. So I'm sure that the email colon has no duplicates. So let's say I've launched out a training and I've said, okay, people should register. I want to be sure if there are duplicate values, like if people have registered more than once and I want to remove them. For example, I've said everyone is entitled to just one slot. And somebody has said, okay, let me try and see if I can get 2 slots. So I can just come, click on remove duplicate and ensure everything is selected. And then I click OK. If there are duplicate values found in my rows, it will tell me that, yes, these have been found and they have been removed. So I just click OK. So how can you handle blanks or missing data in your your data sets? Anyone that did not put their age, just remove their data. And how will you do that? You can come to home, click on sort and filter, click on filter, and then you come under the age colon, and then you scroll down and say anyone that is blank, I am excluding them. Once you unselect the blanks, they will not show, they will not feature at all. So by the time I'm finding the average of this colon, it will be correct because the average is total sum divided by the count, and that will be correct. But what if I don't want to do, outrightly removing them? I want to replace the blanks with zeros. So how can I do that? You can just highlight that colon, Control F, cell that has blank value, replace it with 0. And then you can click replace all. But remember that when you're finding your average, that 0 will skew your data. That means by the time you find the average, it will not be correct as well. So if you want to say, okay, instead of 0, can you replace it with, let's say, 20? If you have that estimated figure or estimated, maybe you've done the analysis before and you know that the average age of people in the organization is maybe 25, 26, or 35. You can just replace it with that particular one. Or you can say, for example, it's not the age, it's the email address, and you can just say, replace it with first name dot last name. Just anyhow you think the data will work for you. You can replace it with not applicable. You can replace it with maybe just write the word blank or not available. Just anything. Just to make sure that you don't have any blank in your data. You can, exclude them outrightly, or you can just replace them with a value you can relate with. And when you are, working with blanks or with missing data, you can also use formula to, handle the blanks or the missing data. So instead of just outrightly, replacing them like this or using find and replace, you can use a formula. You can just, insert a new colon and then say is equals to if age is blank, replace it with this. Otherwise, leave it as this. If you say is equals to if this is equals to blank, comma, what is the value if true? If it's blank, replace it with 21. Otherwise, leave it as age, and then you close it, and then you press enter. Now, let me say I'm replacing this entire colon, anything that I have, anywhere I find 0, I want to replace it with blank, so that let's see if our formula works, then replace all. We can see that our formula actually worked. So that means the formula says if the age is blank, blank is in quotation, you are putting nothing, just 2 quotation. Remember that if you are putting anything text, you have to put it in quotation. So that's why the empty quotation, just putting quotation mark twice, shows blank. So if age is blank, replace it with 21. If it is not blank, I'll put the original value that is in that column. I'll replace it back in that column F. Okay, so I want to check, I've got missing values in my age column, and I want to replace the missing values with the average that I got in my previous analysis. So I've done an analysis and I know that the average age for employees in the organization is 25. So if anyone did not put their age, can you replace it with 25? But if they imputed their age, then put their original age in that column. So that's why I've created this new colon F to check the age. Again, the background is if the staff did not input their age, put the average age that I calculated before, which is 25. But if they have imputed their age, then leave their age there. So let's do the formula together. Is equals to if I double click on the if. Now, what's the logical test? I'm testing this age colon. So that's colon E. But of course, I'm starting from the first cell, which is E2. So I click on the E2, comma. Now look at it. It's asking me what is the value if true. So if it is true, if age, sorry, I'll do that again. My condition is not complete. If the age is equals to blank. Now, if it is blank, how do you represent that in Excel? Remember, if you are to put a text string in a formula, you have to put it within quotation marks. That means you must start the quotation and end the quotation. But if it is empty, so if I do the quotation mark, start it and end it, and I did not put anything in between, Excel sees that as blank field. That means nothing is inside that field. So I'm saying if age is equals to quotation, comma. So that means if age is blank, comma, what is the value if true? So if it is true, what should Excel return? So I want Excel to return the average age that of course, I have, which is 25. So put 25. Remember that 25 is digits, so I don't have to put quotation mark. Comma, what is the value if false? If it is false, what should Excel do? If it is not empty, I want Excel to put the original age. That's the age the staff has imputed. So I click on age again. Then I close the brackets. If you are reading it again, is equals to if the age is blank, comma, put 25. Otherwise, put the original age. So that means if it's not blank, whatever the staff imputed would be, put in that colon F. Then I press enter. So if you look at all the 25s, let's filter out all the 25s. Okay, you can see that in fact, they had nothing. So of course they are blank. And that's why I have 25. So if I filter out everything without the 25, then there is no blank. Then I can select everything. Right, so the next thing we want to look at is the VLOOKUP and the XLOOKUP. VLOOKUP and XLOOKUP. Now, what's the benefit of these lookups? What are they used for? So VLOOKUP is used to search a value vertically. That's why it is V. To search a value vertically down the first column of a table and return a corresponding value from a specified column. I said that again, it is used to search a value vertically down the first column of a table and return a corresponding value from a specified column. Okay, so let me make my table visible first. Then let's say I want to call this one customer name. I want to make this, very interesting. I want to make it interactive for whoever is using this report. So I don't want to make it like I want somebody to be able to come here, key in a value, and then it brings out the results. Okay. For example, I want the line manager to be able to come, input the customer ID, and then the customer name comes up automatically. So if I call this one customer ID, merge and center, and make it bold. Then I want you to be able to input the customer ID here, and then the name of the customer will come out here automatically. So let me swap it. right. And I can even give it, color so that it is standing out. Okay, so let's start our formula. Remember, we're talking about VLOOKUP. Is equals to, no, I want the answer to be here. That the result should be the customer name, not the customer ID. The customer ID is the input. So my formula will be in the results. So my formula will be under the customer name. So is equals to VLOOKUP. I click on it. And you can see, what VLOOKUP does. And it's asking me what is the lookup value. So one interesting thing about Excel is that any formula you are using, you can always see what it does even before you start using it. And it's guiding you as to what is the first thing I need to do, what's the next thing I need to do until you get your total, your results. So VLOOKUP is equal to VLOOKUP. I open the bracket and then it's asking me what's the lookup value. Now, what value am I looking up? So I'm looking up for the customer ID. So that means you will put your customer ID there, and then it's going to give me the corresponding customer name, comma, what's the table array? So the table array is my entire table. So if I know the name of the table, if I've given it a name before, it will be very good. But since I don't know the name, I just highlight it. Then comma, what's the colon index? Now my colon index is, for example, looking at this table now, I'm looking at the customer ID. So from the customer ID, the colon I want the answer to come out from. What is the count? What's the count of that colon? So if you count colon A, that's the first one. Colon B, that's the second one. So that means my colon index number will be 2. Assuming I'm looking for the region, of course, that will be 3. Because if I count from customer ID 1, customer name 2, region 3. So the column index is 2, and then comma, it's asking me what is the range lookup. Do you want approximate match or you want exact match? I want the exact match. I don't want approximation because approximation can give errors. So I want the exact match. So I double click and then I close the brackets. Is equals to VLOOKUP, open the bracket. What am I looking up? I'm looking up for the customer ID. Remember, it is a separate cell now, E3. And then what is the range? I select the entire table set, my entire data set, and then what is the, the colon index, which is 2, counting it from the first one, that's colon A, that's 1, 2. And then I want the exact match, which is a range lookup. Then I press enter. Now I've not entered anything here. So let's say I want to put 10, 13, and I press enter. It gives me the name of the customer. So that means I'm not even working with this data at all. I'm not even looking at it. I just come here and I change the name. I said, okay, you're resuming work. What's your customer ID? What's your user ID? I tell me it is 1006. Okay, what's your name? I can see your name there. I can come back and say, okay, your next person is, well, what's your username? Is 1001. And I press enter. It gives me the name automatically. Now, let's look at another one, which is the XLOOKUP. I'm using the same customer ID, but this one, let me call it, let's say region. Then I want to merge and center. I want to merge and center. I want to make this one bold. And then I want to change the color to, say, a blue. And what's the benefit of XLOOKUP? It's more flexible. That means if the value is not found, I can tell Excel to, give me something else. Maybe tell me not found, or tell me you are not a current staff, or maybe you have resigned, or you are not earning salary this month, or just anything. I can modify the formula to give me that. Okay, so what do? We do is equals to XLOOKUP. And if you read it, it's telling me searches a range of an array for a match and returns the corresponding item from a second range or array. By default, an exact match is used. Equals to XLOOKUP. I double click it. Then lookup value is this, comma. Then what is my range? I'm looking up this customer ID from this, comma. What's the return array? I'm returning it from this region, comma. If not found, say not found, comma, and then exact match. Then close it. Press enter. Yeah. So what's the difference between the XLOOKUP and the VLOOKUP? If you look at my formula for the XLOOKUP, the lookup array is that colon that you are checking, not the entire data set, the colon you are checking. And then the return array is the colon where it's going to pick the result from. And then we've not found, what should it say? Not found, and then exact match 0. But if you look at the VLOOKUP, it is, what is lookup array? The lookup value the same, right? The lookup, the table array is the entire data set. And then colon index, you have to count the number, the colon number. A is 1, B is 2, and that's 2. And then we're looking for the exact match as well. So you should just ensure that you are using, highlighting or using the correct selection. Otherwise, it will give you an error. So if I change this one to, let's say, 10, 10, and I press enter, so it is customer 10 and the region is not. If I change it to 10, 15, customer 15 and the region is not. And if you look at it truly, 10, 15 is 15th customer and the region is not.